Fire Zach Taylor. Fire Duke Tobin. Fire Zach Taylor. And cut Jake Browning. Jake Browning, you're done. I never want to see you in the NFL again. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Listen, Vikings, shout out to you guys. You guys played a great game, and you kicked our everlasting butts. You did. It sucks that Jake Browning is truly garbage at quarterback and threw a pick 6 in this game. And then we had a fumble for 6 by Noah Fant, who is sad because Noah Fant actually looked really good until that point. It is what it is. Our offense sucked in this game. And it's because Jake Browning's not a quarterback. He's a glorified cheerleader playing football. And he needs to be cut. Like, there's no end about that. If he's still on the roster after this week, that is a joke and a half, to say the least. He needs to be cut off this roster. He needs to be gone. And we need to start thinking about trading for Jameis Winston. And do I think Jameis Winston is going to be the answer? Not at all. I really don't think it will be. But at the end of the day, at least we can enjoy the rest of the season, and we don't have to watch absolute dog crap. And that's really all I can say at this point. We need to get rid of Zach Taylor. We need to get rid of Duke Tobin. We need to get a complete refresh of this front office. And I'm not saying that this game in general was, Duke Tobin was the fault of this game. No, he wasn't. But he is the reason why, one of the reasons why this offensive line is dog crap. The reason why Zach Taylor is still coaching, even though he is awful at coaching. And again, the offensive line did not work out either, but Jake Browning can't throw the freaking football to save his life. This is a joke. I think, and now I'm going to say this right now. If we had Joe Burrow in this game, we would have won this game. If Joe Burrow played this game, we would have won. But the fact is, you can't win with Jake Browning. You can't. It's embarrassing to watch him play football. It truly is. And I love Jake Browning. I do. I love him from here to Texas. All my heart, I love Jake, and I want nothing but the best for Jake Browning. But it's impossible. It's impossible to root for someone when you watch him play the way he does. And yes, there is a level that the offensive line has to blame. But if you watch the offensive line on the pick 6, for example, he's rolling left, rolls right, rolls up in the pocket, throws the football on the run, and he throws a pick 6. He wasn't getting hit when he threw that ball. He wasn't doing anything outside that was crazy. The line wasn't causing him to throw that ball quicker. He rolled out, he moved up in the pocket, and he threw an awful pass. And it's happening every single freaking week at this point, and I am just tired of it. I truly am. Maybe you go get Joe Milton. He has a big arm. He has a, crazy great pass, or crazy great mobility to him. Maybe you go get him. Honestly, at this point, I don't care. I just never want to watch Jake Browning play football again. I don't care where Jake goes. I just don't want to see him in a Bengals uniform making me watch him ever play football again. That is an awful thing to have to watch. This was an embarrassing game. I halfway through this game, I was comparing it to the Titans versus Bengals 27-3 game way back in the day. And even in that game, it was really just the fact our offense couldn't do anything and our defense just was kind of piss poor. This game, and I do want to really get this point across, I don't blame our defense. I don't. Our defense was not bad in this game. And I know, final score, bro. Look at the final score. Our defense held them for pretty much the whole first half. and just kind of controlled them the whole first half completely. But at some point, when your quarterback throws a pick six, Noah Fant fumbles it for 6. You fumble the ball 5 times in this game. And you lose 4 of them. Sorry, 3 of them, excuse me. Lose 3 of them. 5 fumbles, lose 3. At some point as a defense, you just give up. I don't put this on our defense. I put this on our coaches. I put this on our quarterback, Jake Browning. This is not a fault of the defense. Our defense played good football. Was it perfect? No. Did they give up in the end? Absolutely. Would anyone? Absolutely. I don't put it on our defense. I put it on Jake Browning and Zach Taylor. And our offensive line as well, but still. It was embarrassing. And I don't know where you go on from here, right? Because you have to make a quarterback change. And I don't understand, again, I just, a little rant here. Why was Jake Browning not taken out of this game at some point and you would have put in Brett? I'm not saying Brett was going to be any better, and clearly he wasn't, right? But at some point you take out Jake Browning and you put in Brett because Jake Browning clearly wasn't getting the job done and clearly wasn't the guy, right? Why don't you just put in Brett? At some point, if you're already, you're going to lose this game, and this game is going so bad, at some point you just got to say, you know what? It's not worth it to keeping what's his name, Jake Browning. It's just not worth it because we know what we've already seen what we're getting out of it. So let's see what Brett can do. Maybe he can look a little bit better. But he kept in Jake to the very end. Put in Brett eventually, but kept him in as long as possible. It's like, it feels like Zach just wanted Jake to work so bad in this game. And he wanted it to be, hey, Zach knows, and I think everyone knows it at this point, but obviously Zach knows as well, that he's on the way out. Now, obviously, the front office would do everything humanly possible to avoid that from happening, right? They do everything possible to never let, Zach Taylor be on his way out. But the fact is, he's on his way out. The writing's been on the wall for a while now. There was a point in time where I was very much on Zach Taylor's side. And I said, hey, come on, we got to give him another shot. He's already ruined that. He's, used up all his shots. It's you're down by 1 and you got a 3-point shot left, and he airballed that completely. So I think there is that level that, even Zach understands at this point that, dude, you're done. Like, it's over. Like, at this point, hang up the cleats. Maybe go into something else. I don't know. But there are certain coaches in the NFL, like Mike McDaniels, who's, he just can't be a coach. He's an offensive coordinator. He's not a good coach. Matt Eberflus, he's an awful coach. He's a great defense coordinator. He's an awful coach. Zach's not good at anything. Like, I love Zach. I do. Absolutely love him. And I love him as a person. But as a coach, he's not good at anything. He's not a good offensive play caller. He's not a good schemer. He's not a good, schematics type of guy. He's a good leader. He's a good man. But there's really nothing else special. He needs to be fired. Now we have the question of, and this is what people say in the chat about, we got to get rid of Orlando Brown. We got to get rid of this guy. Whenever you get rid of someone, you have to have someone who is going to replace him. You can't just get rid of somebody and just be like, oh, we're going to get rid of this guy and have no replacement path, because then that's stupid. You can't do that, right? People say all the time, get rid of this left tackle. Okay, who are you going to replace him with? Someone has to be a replacement. So I think Zach Taylor gets fired. Okay. Al Golden, you are a new head coach. You're an interim head coach. Obviously, we'll figure out how everything works out in the end after this, during this offseason. But I would fire him, and I'd make Al Golden the interim head coach for right now. Duke, there is just simply no one right now, I feel like, that could be our GM in theory. So you'd probably hold off to the offseason for Duke and fire him in the offseason. But I think right now, especially after this loss, fire Zach and promote Al Golden. And then I would come back and I'd cut Jake Browning. And that's probably my moves I would make right now. Again, you have to make a move after this type of loss. You have to. If you don't, you just don't look like a serious team. You really don't. Because this is a situation where this is a lack of everything altogether. This is a failure across the board. And something needs to be done when it comes to this type of stuff. And again, like I said, I know Mike Brown, Katie Blackburn,